Joining us now with stories trending around the world is Anieze Osakwe. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Busy morning. Very busy morning here. Yeah, but good to be with all of you. Good morning, Bimbai.
Good morning, Annie of Davos.
Yes. We've seen the promos. It's happening.
Yes. So
very exciting. Thank you. Thank you so much. Members of the public are calling for justice for students of Ambrose Alli University in Ekpoma. These calls come after a new video emerged on Monday that shows a group of students cramped in the back of a truck being taken to Ubiaja prison. Now, earlier on Monday, a Benin High Court ordered them to the jail, saying that they were part of a group of people behind protests that turned violent on Saturday against the state's consistent insecurity. Let's take a look.
Asiwaju, President of Nigeria. These are the crying faces that are sent to Ubiaja Correctional Centre for what they know nothing about. Sir, we did not participate in that protest. The people that participated in that protest, they are in their houses. They are walking freely on the streets, and nothing happened to them. Sir, we are begging you. We are being punished for what we know nothing about. Sir, we are your children. We are your children, sir. Please, have mercy on us.
Now, authorities were said to have arrested these students from their dorms or their hostels while they were sleeping around 3 a.m. early on Sunday morning. A lot of the students who were arrested say they weren't even involved with the protests. But then, overnight, Edo State Police released their own statement emphasizing that no peaceful protester was arrested. In their post on X, they say that 52 people suspected to have participated in violent acts of vandalism, assault, causing disorder, and undermining public safety were arrested. The arrested hoodlums also allegedly forcibly entered the palace of His Royal Highness Anthony Ehizioge Abumere, assaulting him and his wife while they destroyed his property. Contrary to claims circulating on social media, the police guarantees that no peaceful protester was arrested, but were rather charged to go home and maintain the peace. But meanwhile, Governor Monday Okpebolo, in his own post on his X profile on Monday, said the safety of Edo people is his #1 priority. He stated that he hears the voices of the people, that he's committed to taking decisive action, and that he will not relent until safety is fully restored. Either way, people in Edo State are angry. One layer of it is due to the insecurity and the abductions, and now we have a second layer, which is because of how Ambrose Alli University students are being treated. And Dr. Abati, I'll come to you on this. I mean, a lot going on in Edo State, and now there's so much public uproar because of this video regarding, the students.
Okay, very briefly. Yesterday, you brought a story, a video, about a man, I think, who was kidnapped as he was entering his house. And there have been reports of, all kinds of kidnapping incidents in Edo State, on the basis of which people living in the Ekpoma area decided to protest. Now, every citizen is entitled to state protection. Every citizen is entitled to security. We have seen the exasperation on the part of every citizens of Nigeria, reacting against the fact that life has become very short. Nobody is safe. Even if you are sleeping in your home, you could be kidnapped. And it affects all categories of citizens. So the main issue here is insecurity in Edo State. Now, these students were arrested, in the early hours of the day on the grounds that, they were guilty of malicious damage and also armed robbery. And the students, their main defense is that, one, they are not even involved in the protest. That if any protest occurred, that protest was hijacked by hoodlums. And it was, these hoodlums who were responsible for whatever damage and acts of violence that may have attended the protest. The third point is that protest is a legitimate right under the Constitution. The people have the right to express themselves as long as they are not violent. But here in this case, these students were rounded up and taken to the court, and the court has now remanded them in prison. Ubiaja Correctional Centre, you called it. we can only demand a number of things. One, that there must be fair hearing. Mm-hmm. Two, they are entitled to bail. That should also be granted. They should not become awaiting trial persons in whatever correctional center that they have been detained at. And of course, their right to defense must also be respected. Yeah. Understandably, the parents are unhappy, they are grieved. You could see the family members there, also lamenting. But what is important is that this kind of situation is preventable. And it is for government to play its part of making sure that this country is safe for everybody, as President Tinubu has promised again and again. Nobody should have to go and, protest on the street or be accused of malicious damage or acts of violence just because people do not feel safe. Mm-hmm. That is the major point. Yeah. We all need to be safe. Whether we are in Ogidi or we are in Abeokuta.
Absolutely.
Or where is that your village? Odogbolu?
Standard.
Odogbolu.
This
Everyone
is the point.
should feel safe.
Yes. You don't have a village?
Oh, yes, I do. Odukpani.
Odukpani, whether it's in Odukpani.
I think the part of the story we are missing is the way the security forces reacted to the protest. So there's a story of Osage Abraham, 32-year-old, that is currently receiving treatment at Eromele Medical Center in Ekpoma because he was shot by a military officer during the protest. The question is, since NSAS, the likes of Femi Falana SN has always spoken about the fact that Nigerian police lacks the capacity and our security forces lacks capacity to be able to handle protest. One would have thought, how did they handle the protest? Were they water cannons? I'm definitely sure there was no water cannons. What were the other methods they used to be able to quell the protest? Why will you resort to the use of live rounds being fired? You see, when we say Nigeria happened, what we are just saying is a system defect and a system error. But you see, the emergency lovers of Nigeria that do not understand system engineering will say we are demarketing Nigeria. And that's why the delusion is on them. Why is it that most protests we have in the first place results in this? Secondly, what are they protesting for? Insecurity. I have crisscrossed that area from Irua to Ubiaja to up the way to Ikeke. Across that axis. And there's massive level of insecurity. I used to travel around that area before. Today, I can't try it again without police escort. Not just 1 or 2 or 3 vans of police. It's not today they've been protesting around that Ubiaja, Ekpoma, Irua area. In fact, women have come out to protest. When the governor got in there, there were protests. They've been protests, but till today, they've not been able to find a solution. The question you should ask is, why is it that the police does not respond on time to bring people that are kidnapped back home? You saw the story of the video of the man that was kidnapped in his home. Why has the police not made effort? Why has the military not made efforts? We are so quick. You can see how funny Nigeria has become. We are quick to arrest protesters that protest against insecurity that the government can't solve, while the bandits, we negotiate with them. The states, like Katsina State, negotiate with the criminals. When 16 hunters were killed, the governor of Edo State was quick to go and do commiserations in Kano.
Right.
But people are being arrested, people are being kidnapped, and nothing comes out of it here. So it's a consistent effort, and you cannot ensure, and you cannot tell the people not to pray, because they will still protest more, and the students of Ekpoma will still protest more, except that level of insecurity stop. But it's not stopping anytime soon, because the authorities are not responding to the issue. There are many cases. Look at the case of the couple kidnapped. That case is still there. Only, I think the wife has been released. The husband had to sell his home. People are not selling their homes to raise ransom. And this is happening.
We've talked about kidnappings and abductions in Edo State so many times, so now these calls are just growing louder and louder. From Edo State, let's now head to politics in Rivers State, where in a new video, 2 lawmakers beg their colleagues to reconsider moving forward on impeachment proceedings against the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara. Now, this video, released on Monday, features the House Minority Leader, Sylvana Swankwo, alongside Peter Abe of Degema State constituency, holding a press conference in Port Harcourt, saying that while they think Governor Fubara did infringe on the Constitution, impeachment isn't necessarily the way forward. Let's watch.
We have called this press conference to appeal to our fellow colleagues to tamper justice with mercy and to see how we can resolve this matter apart from the impeachment proceedings. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the Constitution, but we are appealing on them to reconsider our stand.
We, as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in River State, outside River State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconsider.
Now, I'll just take a quick reaction before coming to you, Vimbai. ISIP says, this is what happens, and this is a tweet, when public pressure meets political reality, when the people speak loudly enough, even the most calculated plots start to crack. River State is watching, Nigeria is watching, and history will remember who stood with democracy and who tried to trade the people's mandate for personal interest. Power belongs to the people, not backroom deals. Now, all of this comes as we're also getting new reports that as of now, Governor Fubara has yet to receive an official impeachment letter. Vimbai, give us a reality check on the significance of the fact that we're getting these two lawmakers come to speak out. Is this U-turn something to be expected? Should we be surprised? What's going on?
Well, when the news broke that the impeachment proceedings had begun and this process had been launched in the River State House of Assembly, one of the things I had said is, well, I just looked at the statistics over the years. We've had over 170 governors since 1999. In those 176 have been involved in impeachment proceedings, but only 2 have been permanently impeached. Without looking at the intricacies and the different details and the different circumstances, just statistically, the chance of Governor Fubara being impeached is 1% if we take history as an antecedent. That's number one. Number two, it was always going to be clear that there are so many, as Rufai would say, hegemonic powers involved here, that one move was going to be checked by a response. There's no way they will do such a thing and he will just sit quietly somewhere and take it. So now we are starting to see the power play. We're seeing organizations such as PANDEF also coming in to try and resolve this issue amicably. We're also seeing the creation of a committee that's supposed to be a reconciliation committee who are saying that, well, they believe that they have the ears of both parties involved and that whatever settlement is reached will be adhered to. In the past, we saw that the elders of River State were unable to create any lasting peace. So now we are seeing some of the assembly members. We don't know who has appealed to them to make this U-turn. Some are even going as far as saying the presidency has waded in on this issue and has said that the process should be stopped. However, Dr. Enemi George, he was the chairman of the House Committee on Information and Petitions, is saying that, number one, he is doubling down on the fact that Fubara has been served. Other reports are saying that he had traveled, and then after traveling, he went to Abuja, so that he hasn't been physically in the state for him to be able to be served. That's what other reports are saying. Other reports, also from Dr. George, are saying that beyond what we're seeing here, that there are threats, that they've been told that the courts are going to be weaponized, that there's an ex parte order that's going to be issued to stop the impeachment process. That's them, sort of raising alarm of what they think will happen next. But at the core of this, I think, is a negotiation that's going to take place. We know that there are 2 individuals who want something out of this, the sitting governor and the former governor. It's now going to be a question of when they sit down at the table, will everybody be able to get their own piece of the pie? Highly unlikely, because it seems that what Governor Nyesom Wike wants is being regarded as an overreach by the person currently in power. We listened to former Governor Ayo Fayose this morning saying, well, the person who put you there, you should always be submissive to that person. You should always be grateful and appreciative. That's what they say in the political circles. But we here are looking for an accountable democracy. And we're saying that when somebody is in office, that person should be allowed to function and operate not to the whims of a godfather, but to the good of the people. And the people of River State are ultimately those who are suffering most from this entire debacle.
Right.
And that's one angle of it. The other angle, which we were sort of bantering about here before, before we started commenting on air, is that these allegations have been brought forward. 8 allegations of gross misconduct. Now, again, the commentary is saying that, temper peace. Impeachment should be a last resort constitutional remedy and not something that you throw around to try and sort of implement some type of show of power. However, other people are saying that the State House of Assembly is allowed to make allegations, and Governor Fubara does not operate under impunity, and he should be investigated, and that process should happen. So several chips falling, but ultimately, I don't think he will be impeached. I think there will be a peace, even though it may be peace of the graveyard, there will be a peace settlement reached. But 2027 is where the real cocoa of the matter will be played out. Before 2027 primaries, we'll know whether he's the man for the next second term or not.
Very interesting. And as Mbai said, we'll keep talking about 2027, because now let's talk about the big question on former presidential candidate Peter Obi's mind. Where is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It's also the title of a detailed post on X, where Obi wrote on Monday, where he highlights the fact that the president spent 196 days abroad in 2025. For context, that's more than half of the year outside Nigeria. Now, this is the tweet, and I'll read it in part. He says, "This lack of presence starkly contrasts with what we see in comparable developing nations where leaders step up in times of crisis. In Nigeria, after U.S. military strikes on our soil, our president remained silent. Instead of directly addressing the nation, Nigerians learned about these critical events from foreign media, from Americans, and vague communications from aides rather than from their own leader. Are we to believe that Nigeria is being governed, or is it merely being managed from elsewhere? Leadership isn't simply about issuing press releases. It's about standing before the people, engaging with them, and offering clarity. Nigerians are eager to hear from their president through direct media briefings. They deserve to understand the state of their country. In a time of crisis, the absence of leadership is not just troubling, it's perilous. Silence in the face of crisis is the loudest form of failure." Now, Obi also highlights the fact that he would want the president to engage more with the media. But what's interesting is the fact that historically, there really haven't been that many Nigerian presidents that have been open when it comes to directly engaging with the public or being willing to conduct one-on-one interviews with the press. And Dr. Abati, I'll come to you.
Jonathan did better. Jonathan
exactly, which is why, Dr. Abati, I'll come to you on this. Peter Obi's statements.
Mr. Peter Obi is asking, where is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Well, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is currently in Abu Dhabi on the invitation of the President of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, attending what is known as the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. And the theme of that conference, January 11 to 15, is the Nexus of Nest. All systems go. Before then, the President of Nigeria traveled on December 28 to Europe, we were told. But we later discovered that he was in France. And it was from France that he has now arrived at an important, foreign policy event. And there's nothing wrong in that regard. But the major grounds of Mr. Peter Obi is that in 2025, the president spent 196 days out of 365 days abroad. And that, more or less, he became an absentee president. And that this year, his warning is that absenteeism should not be the approach to governance. That presence is very important. He said, we demand presence. He says being absent is not governance, it is neglect. Okay, Mr. Peter Obi, where is he coming from? He's a leader of the opposition. He's an opposition political figure. So he will naturally raise questions, interrogate government. So he's doing what he's supposed to do, to draw attention to things. But, you know, the truth of the matter, as he also pointed out, is that there are issues on the ground in Nigeria. And we need the president he sees to be more on the ground, to address those issues, the crisis, which is the word that he used, instead of traveling all over the world and being absent. As I've said, this is an opposition political leader drawing attention to what he considers a major omission. But you can be sure that, Mr. Nonuga or other spokespersons of the government, Sunday Dare and the rest of them, we have a ready answer for him to say that, well, whether he's in Europe or he's in Abu Dhabi, the president is still serving the interest of Nigeria. But I think there are other Nigerians too, apart from Mr. Obi, who say that, we love our president so much. We would like him to be more visible at home rather than traveling abroad. But I think the caveat to that is that this government has been, active enough in telling us at any particular time where the president is. Now, whether he travels too often or he travels with too large a delegation, those are other questions. And as for the delegation, the president has also addressed that previously. But I always say that the president of Nigeria is the chief foreign policy officer of the country. And, a government that is looking for investment, that is trying to engage with the world, that is trying to have the Nigerian voice out there, you cannot run away from this kind of situation.
Right.
But Mr. Peter Obi said there was no New Year message because the president was not around. But it's a popular, kind of a concern about the president.
Very quickly, literally a couple of sentences. The president attended this Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit last year, 2025. Two outcomes. The first was that we were promised that the president of UAE was to visit Nigeria within the year. Of course, that hasn't happened. We're wondering, hopefully this year in this visit, we can get an update. The second thing was that Nigeria and UAE signed the KEPA deal, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which was supposed to create an investment and trade framework between the two countries. That was the sort of big takeaway from the summit last year. 1 year later, that agreement still hasn't been signed. So I'm hoping that as we are going back a year later, that maybe this year, the second visit, second time round, maybe we can get this agreement signed.
Very key point.
And Dr. Abati, he has never always told us where he went. This last one,
present-minded in issuing press releases.
No, Dr. Abati.
Which Mr. Obi says is just the press release and propaganda.
Dr. Abati, he has never always told us where he went. This last one he went, he said Europe. Europe is not enough of a place. It was when, after they wanted to show that he was working and they released the photos that they used AI to spruce up, that they showed us that he was in France eating lunch. We didn't know he was in France.
And he met with President of Rwanda.
That was when they wanted to show us off that he was working, that he was at least doing something, having meetings. Then they now showed us he was in France. They didn't tell us he was in Europe. In fact, they've been very ambivalent about mentioning the word that is going to France. And with due respect, please, public disclosure, I don't know. What's the thing about France? France. You know why I'm saying this? Because we had this ordeal too with President Buhari of blessed memory. UK. That is even his handlers then had to come and justify and say he's been using a doctor for over 30-something years and all of that. What's this thing? That was how President Buhari spent many days abroad. You see, a nation that truly wants to grow, we should be able to introspect. The leaders must be on ground to get the work.
Right.
Nigeria is fast looking like Cameroon. That the president of Cameroon, in fact, he's a resident abroad.
Yes.
He's just coming to do election, winning votes, and going back to Geneva or Switzerland. If Obi says the president spent over 190 days, he took 46 trips, is that not a cause for concern? Because with all the trips we are seeing, we are not seeing any foreign investment. Vimbai, God bless you for bringing out some of the promises based on the trip. We didn't see anything out of the trip.
Maybe he's gone back to
2024 too. If I'm going to check I'm sure he spent over 100 days abroad the year before. for good measure with our own common, with our own private jet, with our jets now that they have allocated about $10 billion to in the space of since he got to power up to this time. I mean, 10 billion naira to be able to fix. Then over $150 million that they used to buy jet that the National Assembly keeps claiming it didn't pass through us. This is our own national commonwealth. Somebody should not use our own money, for sweatshop or something. Please, we should be realistic. All this job getting about, we should stay at home and get the job done.
Vimbai say the agreement that was signed, we haven't seen the result. That's not the responsibility of the president. We have a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I've said again and again on this table that Ministry of Foreign Affairs has lost most of its best hands. Its golden era has passed. When you sign an MOU, there are desk officers with assigned responsibilities who are supposed to follow through. It's not the president that will carry MOU and be pursuing it. That is the job of other officers. So that's how foreign policy works, either in Nigeria or elsewhere. Okay, thank you.
So from there, let's head to Sokoto State, where a new video is circulating on social media, which emerged on Monday evening that shows a sizable group of residents of the Tidibale village in Isa local government area escaping to save their lives after the notorious terrorist leader Bello Turji announced his plans to control several villages in the state's eastern district. Now, in this video that will play now, dozens of people are seen carrying what looks like their life's belongings. And if we can pull up that video of cars and people carrying all of their belongings, all of which seem to be headed in the same direction. At one point, you can even see a military officer facilitating their escape, and a different village called Bargaja in the same local government area was also targeted days ago. And all of this is because of Turji, the bandit leader, stating his intent to dominate this region. Now, this video comes as the former governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, confirmed the fact that this mass movement of people and families in the state out of fear is happening as we speak. Tambuwal made these comments yesterday on Arise News Primetime with Charles Aniagolu. Let's watch.
I said to be moving to the local government headquarters for fear of bandits attacking them in Sokoto State.
Yeah, it's been happening randomly, not only in Isa, in Sabon Birni, in Goronyo. Even in my senatorial district in Shagari, we have had similar situation where most villages in Shagari local government left their villages and settled in Shagari township itself. And of course, it's been happening in Kebbi and in Dangishuni, in Torita, in my own senatorial district. So it's correct that that we have that situation in Isa. And a number of local governments, including Rabah and Wurlo in the eastern flank of the state. That information is correct.
Yes, and I'll just quickly come to you on this, Rufai, because we have the former governor confirming the fact that this migration out of fear is happening. I mean, we know that Nigeria already has an internally displaced people problem, but now this video and the former governor are confirming it.
You're telling me about it. I've been working with IDPs for over 10 years in partnership with CESO Foundation and my own outfits. I know the plight of IDPs. I work with them. There's a lot of loss. And where is the president? So you think these people, if they have the chance, they can go and sit in France and also have holiday? But the president is nowhere to be found. It's not a failure of government. When we say Nigeria has failed now, they think we are joking. Look at Bello Turji. Look at what he's doing. Till today, we've not been able to track him down. Look at the level of insecurity. Just yesterday, I was watching on Arise about Ubiaja now. Anyway, that one, kudos to the police. They said the police was trying to root them out. You know, they were having airstrikes against them. I think we reported and we commended them for. Because of that, those sleeper cells of the bandits, they came and there was a shootout for over 5 hours in Ubiaja town. But kudos to our valiant police and military forces in security. Look at Kwara. The other day, we brought a picture of a woman protesting, and what happened? They were rounded up in front of the government house. Look at the insecurity in Kwara. Should I continue? Look at Ekpoma. Insecurity, parts of the north. Even look at even up to parts of the south here. cases of kidnapping and all of that. So, and you have a president of such a country, and his handlers will tell you he went to Europe. Because they can't mention that France, because they know when they mention France, we'll say, Otitu law. And the president of this same country, an airstrike happened. You could even tell Trump was even more proactive. Because people that are so quick to compare Nigeria, anyway, I don't even mind those ones that compare Nigeria with America. How many times have you seen Trump junketing around? How many times have you seen Trump junketing around? So, and in fact, I just checked for good measure. The first 17 months of the administration, he spent 124 days abroad. So, plus this another, the last 1 year, that Obi is talking about 196 days. So 196 plus 124.
November 2025.
196 plus 124. Do the maths.
It's almost a year.
So you can see what we are saying.
Right.
And when a leader is doing this, there are lacunas everywhere. When we say this, as we have said it now, the first thing his handlers will say is that at first we are enemies of Nigeria, we hate Nigeria, we are demarketing. Then the next thing they will start abuse. Like maybe it's the abuse that will capture Bello Turji. Then Mr. Bayo Onanuga will now write, bitter Obi. Bitter Obi is this, is that. I wish the abuse, Mr. Bayo Onanuga abuse Peter Obi, will capture Bello Turji. I'll be happy and stop the insecurity.
Right. On that note, let's now take our next report under milestones, where today we're remembering the life of Babatunde Akran, the Akran of Badagry, whose passing was announced on Monday at the age of 89. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated that he provided visionary and purposeful leadership for over 40 years, leaving a track record of harmony, tolerance, and prosperity for his people. Now, the Akran of Badagry was on the throne for almost 49 years, making him one of the longest-serving traditional rulers in Lagos State. But he also had an illustrious career before ascending to the throne, with his career starting as a teacher where he taught at various schools in Badagry before going into journalism. In 1961, he began his career at the West African Pilot as the diplomatic correspondent, then as chief reporter for the Post group of newspapers. He then joined the Daily Sketch and New Nigeria newspapers, where he eventually became acting news editor. By 1976, his appointment as Akran of Badagry was approved by the Executive Council of Lagos, with a coronation ceremony taking place in April of 1977 in accordance with tradition. May his soul rest in peace. And finally, let's take our good news report, where a Nigerian defense startup known as Terra Industries has just raised over $11 million, a step set to increase what it can provide as a defense company at such a critical time. Now founded just 2 years ago by 22-year-old Nathan Nwachukwu and 24-year-old Maxwell Maduka, the Abuja-based company creates drones, watchtowers, and autonomous ground vehicles. Now, the equipment they manufacture helps keep infrastructure assets worth $11 billion safe across Africa as they work with hydropower plants as well as gold and lithium mining operations too. Now, with this new funding, $11 million, the company plans to expand manufacturing even more by building more factories and hiring more people to boost production. Congratulations to Terra Industries. All of their designing, building, manufacturing happens right here in Nigeria and across Africa. And they operate in such a critical industry, as we've all been talking about the challenges regarding security and insecurity. Congratulations to them.
That's Nigeria happening in a good way. I like that.
Absolutely.
Nigeria. Brilliant minds.
Nigeria is still the country where dreams come true.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you
very
all
much.
for your great analysis.
Yes.